In today's video, I am going to explain anatomy of abdominal muscles layer by layer. I am going to explain muscles from superficial layer to deep layer. You're looking at the most superficial layer of abdominal muscles. But before that, imagine there is adipose tissues and skin superficial to these tissues. Knowing layer anatomy is very important. Imagine there is adipose tissue and skin above these muscles. Okay, this is right side. This is left side. You see the most superficial one on right side and left one is one layer deeper. What is this muscle? This is external oblique. And on left side, if you dissect external oblique, you see next layer. This one is internal oblique. Okay, these are the most superficial abdominal muscles. Right side, external oblique. Left side, if you dissect external oblique, internal oblique shows up. Main functions of these muscles are trunk rotation. Trunk rotation and side bend. Rotation is simple movement. You just simply rotate core. Side bend is when you bend core to lateral way. This is what is called side bend. Okay, these are external oblique and internal oblique. What are deep to these oblique muscles? Now, external oblique, internal oblique are dissected. You see two muscles. This one is the most famous abdominal muscle, right? This is rectus abdominis. Rectus abdominis, this is the six-pack muscle, right? This is on the kind of a midline of core. You see another muscle. What is this one? This is transverse abdominis. Transverse abdominis. Rectus abdominis is superficial to transverse abdominis. However, if you go inferior and inferior, rectus abdominis kind of dives in deep to transverse abdominis. Now, at inferior part of abdomen, transverse abdominis becomes kind of superficial to rectus abdominis. I believe this is quite interesting. What is function of rectus abdominis? The main function is trunk flexion. This is the sit-up muscle, right? On the other hand, transverse abdominis doesn't move core a lot. It is more important for core stability. Core stability, and it maintains abdominal pressure. So this muscle is more important for stability and optimizing abdominal pressure. Okay, this is second layer. The most outer layer was external oblique and internal oblique. Next layer, which we just saw, rectus abdominis and transverse abdominis. Now, what is next layer? Is psoas coming? Iliacus coming? Actually not. If you dissect rectus abdominis and transverse abdominis, internal organs show up. Knowing this layer is very, very important. This is large intestine, and this is small intestine. And deep to these organs, there are kidneys. Why am I talking about internal organ anatomy before jumping into psoas and iliacus? Well, here is the important thing. Psoas and iliacus are deep to internal organs. When you do myofascial release for psoas and iliacus, be aware there are internal organs in front of these core muscles. If you don't have visualization of internal organs when you do myofascial release, otherwise you might hurt internal organs. Plus, that may trigger sympathetic nervous system. That is problem. You don't want to do that. So having visualization and having picture of anatomy is very important when you approach to psoas. Okay, psoas is deep to these organs, and you see part of iliacus right here. See, these two muscles are very close to internal organ. Now you have visualization of internal organs. Let's go to the deepest part. Internal organs are gone. This is psoas. And this is iliacus. What is their main function? That is hip flexion. Okay, these are hip muscles. Functionally, they are hip muscles, but look at their origin, particularly for psoas. Psoas originates from lumbar spines, and this is deep part of abdomen. Anatomically, you can say psoas is abdominal muscle. Functionally, you can say psoas is hip muscle. This is how you see anatomy. If you see functionally, it's hip muscle. If you the geography, anatomy of psoas, that is abdominal muscle. I think this differentiation is quite interesting. Now you have visualization of both internal organs and psoas. Now when you do myofascial release for psoas and iliacus, you are more careful to approach to these muscles. That is why knowing anatomy layer by layer is freaking important. If you don't have this kind of visualization or knowledge, you might have risk to hurt internal organs. Layer by layer anatomy, freaking important. So in today's video, I explained muscle anatomy of abdominal muscles. The most outer layer, external oblique and internal oblique. Next layer, rectus abdominis and transverse abdominis. And in between transverse abdominis and psoas layer, there are internal organs. You cannot ignore this anatomy. At last, the deepest part is psoas and iliacus. If you liked today's video, please hit the like button, comment and subscribe. See you next video.